1-2 start isn't worth getting excited about, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But I'm also not going to bury my head over what I think are some real positives. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots. Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Maple Leafs 4, Penguins 2 a couple of nights ago in Toronto. They're in Montreal for a game against the Canadiens tonight, and they have a chance to emerge at 2-2, which also won't be anything exciting, although I'd been saying for months now that I thought this would be a challenging start for the team. And I'll stand by that based on what we've seen of these opponents. But the main thing, especially with these first three opponents, that I wanted to see was how they'd handle the speed aspect, how they'd handle just skating, just keeping up. And they probably did a little bit better than I thought they would. Look, the Rangers game, you can take that and hang on to it and fuss over it for 5 or 6 months for all I care. I saw that as an aberration on multiple levels. I feel like the last two games, both for better and worse, are more reflective of the reality, meaning in Detroit, getting outplayed early, the Red Wings in their home opener all fired up and everything, and then just taking it to the Wings. The opposite happens in Toronto. Penguins come out really strong in the first period, arguably even stronger than anything that they showed in Detroit. And then things kind of taper off, but not dramatically. Bad line change on the 3-on-0. That happens. That's not something that's, symbolic of some broader thing. Mitch Marner really nailed his spot behind Joel Blomqvist rushing down the right side. Weird goal off the end boards. And even then, the Penguins kept coming. Rickard Rakell scores halfway through the third period. There was additional pressure. They didn't get the other goal. Maple Leafs get the empty netter. And that's that. But in general, watching these guys skate, it's different than last season. And it's so very much needed to be different from last season. The one thing that you could not do entering 2024-25 was to have the Penguins operate with the same speed and in turn, the same energy level, the same general effectiveness all over the rink. So what I'm saying is I'm not down yet. I might get there. Can't keep losing games. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season. From Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Also, there's no way I was going to get through this segment without bringing it up. You can't scratch Jesse Puljujarvi. I'm not going to be a dummy here and suggest that that's why they lost the game. You can't scratch. You can't make him a healthy scratch. And he was, by the way. That was confirmed through Mike Sullivan after the game. There was no reason for that. Puljujarvi set up, as I mentioned on the previous episode of the show, from Detroit. He set up the one goal that the Penguins got in the first period, the one that really, along with Blomqvist's goaltending, kept them in the game. And he was, you want to talk about all over the rink and using speed and size and everything else. How is he the odd man out? Like, you almost wanted to hear from Sullivan afterward that he was hurt or something. Not that you wish injury. You know what I'm saying. You almost wanted to hear that it was something that the Penguins are doing as a preventive step to make sure that he stays healthy after that double hip surgery and all that other stuff. But no, it was just he's a healthy scratch. Why? I'm not going to make some everyday habit of picking on Noel Acciari, but open your eyes. I don't care about the penalty killing component because so far the Penguins haven't been any good on penalty killing anyway. And Acciari in particular hasn't been any good at anything. You can't do this stuff and expect to have the whole process taken seriously, meaning that you're going to bring along guys who are, younger and promising and faster. Puljujarvi was the Penguins' fastest skater registered the other night in Detroit. And he sits against the Maple Leafs? Why? For Acciari? And then please don't try to tell me it was because Brian Rust entered the lineup. Rust's got to enter the lineup. It's a matter of who comes out. And there's no reason that shouldn't be Acciari, except that Acciari eats pucks for a living. He's brave. He's courageous. He's a warrior, as Sullivan has called him. No. And suiting up Rutger McGroarty doesn't make up for it. The reason that you had the kind of camp that you did, the reason that you had 500 forwards competing for 5 spots was that you wanted to foster that air of not just camp competition, but competition throughout the season. Well, Puljujarvi won that competition. If they gave a gold medal for camp competitions, he'd be on the top stand. And he scratched in game 3 after he helps you win game 2? See, you want to buy in, okay? I know you do. I'm digging into your hockey brain there. You want this to be the time when the Penguins can successfully meld their older and younger players and install all of them together into a system that works, that unifies the old and the young. You can't scratch Puljujarvi. You can't do that. You just can't. When we come back, J1Q, at which point I'm going to say one more time that you can't. Before I take today's J1Q, I feel it's significantly worthy of a reminder here that you can't scratch. You just can't scratch Jesse Puljujarvi like that. You can't. Not like he's earned it over the course of his career, but all of your dynamics. Barry has the actual J1Q. He says, DK, I feel like Evgeny Malkin's been great at times, also bad at times. That's been the frustrating thing with him the past 3 or 4 years, the inconsistency. Can't seem to sustain the good. Is that just probably due to his age? And yeah, I mean, he's 37. And I actually kind of liked his game here through the first 3. I liked the way he's moved boldly through the neutral zone, which is one of those telltale signs, I'd say, over the 2 decades that he's been around here as to whether or not he's going to be effective or whether or not he's going to be all the way in. Not from an effort standpoint, but from a focus standpoint. He's different like that. There's times when he looks mopey or whatever, but it's not because he's lazy. It's because he just he doesn't lock in all the way. Well, when you see him moving through the neutral zone the way he did to set up Drew O'Connor the other night, I mean, that was really close to coast, incidentally. Erik Karlsson gave him the puck probably just inside the Pittsburgh blue line, and off he went. He had another nice rush in Toronto to set up Ricard Raquel, the goal that pulled the Penguins within 1. And these were both significant sequences, too, in these games. They weren't like throwaway, bonus points that he got or whatever. These were, hey, let's step up and make something happen for the team. I feel like at Gino's age, even in the context of his first ballot Hall of Fame career that he's had, that it is the most fair to view him within the prism of second line centers around the NHL. And I've cited this statistic before. I'm going to do it again. He was the 30th highest scoring center in a 32-team league last season. Think about that for a second. Every team's got a number one center. Some are obviously a lot better than others. Some teams have 2 number one centers. But in this specific scenario, Gino might be the best or one of the best, certainly one of the best second line centers in the league. Well, guess what position he's playing for the Penguins? That's right. He's a second line center. And that's it. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to see out of him. No one's asking Gino to be an MVP. No one's asking him to get into the Rocket Richard race or anything crazy like that. Just be your best self. And his best self at this age is still one of the very best at the role that he does for his team. If you do that, Gino won't drive you nuts. Gino won't have you yearning for something from 2009 or whatever. He'll just be the best Gino that you can have. I like his agility that he's shown. I like his approach, and I really like his attitude. I mean, he's had some milestones here already over these first 3 games. 800th assist came in the Detroit game. 1300th point came in the Toronto game. And after the one at Scotiabank Arena, he basically said to reporters, I really don't want to talk about, we lost. I'm not feeling it right now. And that's what you still want. That's what you still want. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.